Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
We are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 54th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything that's important to us, to you, and the world, and nothing is off the table. In this episode, we're talking all about where punk rock music came from. But before we dive deep into the subject, we have to ask you a couple of questions. First, have you subscribed to WokeNFree on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, or iHeartRadio? If not, please do. We greatly appreciate your support of our show. Second, have you shared an episode with friends or family? If not, sharing is caring, and I think you might want to share this episode. Third, have you hollered at us on social media? You can easily find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WokeNFree. And then lastly, have you reviewed one of our show episodes? If not, please go to WokeNFree.com where you can see us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and a couple other platforms where you can choose to review any of our episodes and share your thoughts.
Each week, we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. Last week, we shared when we knew we found the one. This week, we are sharing our best foreign accent.
What accent is that, Khalil?
That is the question you must figure out.
You don't even know the answer. That's pathetic, sir.
Come on.
You better get your life.
No, come on now.
I'm going to start this off with an English accent. So I won't say her name, but if she's listening, she knows. She used to say, "Mommy, I can't tie my shoes. Please help me." And so that is one accent.
Is that your best?
And I could also say bloody hell or bollocks or you're a wanker.
Wow.
And
all
so
right.
those, what do you think, what accent am I imitating?
Probably a British or something?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
I'm just taking a long shot guess here.
Okay, you're full of
Not
You know
sure.
that was effing fabulous.
I don't
So,
know.
okay, you give it a go then. Let's
All right.
see.
Mine's a little bit longer.
Okay.
It's from a place that's down under, I'll say.
Oh, Australia.
How'd you guess it already?
Because I'm a genius.
Oh man, all right, you're pretty good. So mine is really long though. It's
Okay.
a long phrase. Okay, so are you
I'm
ready for it?
Yeah, I'm
It's super
frickin'
long.
ready.
I hope you hear all of it. All
Yeah,
the
welcome
accentuations
Nation's rating too.
for
Yep.
the accentuations in my tone. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oi, mate.
You've been saying this for 14 years, and it's never gotten better.
Yes,
Since
it has.
the first time
It's
you've
improved.
said it.
It's very improved.
Welcome Free
You
Nation.
can actually use it too.
That's
You know
down
what's-
under. Please tell Khalil whether or not that sounds like an Aussie accent or not.
So what's good about my accent is you can actually use it to greet people. What can you do with the ones that you did? None of those phrases could be used.
I could totally call everyone a wanker.
That's exactly. Say that to the queen. Yeah.
Wanker!
Yeah. That's gonna get you in some
Or-
hot water.
Not expecting that!
Alright, sounds crazy. Now you just sound crazy. Now you sound crazy. Man, I don't know if you should expose WokeNFree Nation to that.
Oh gosh, I think I've tickled myself too much for the day. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep this party train moving, guys. The first question out of the gate, what is punk rock music?
That's changing the gears up. But according to Encyclopedia Britannica, it's an aggressive form of rock music that actually started in the early 1970s. It's usually full of like vital energy beneath a sarcastic, hostile facade.
Interesting.
And the Ramones' debut album actually is kind of called like the blueprint for punk. It has guitars as white noise, drums are the texture, and then vocals just are hostile slogans. So that's
Gotcha.
how the encyclopedia defined it.
Okay. Well, I turned to an equally equivalent resource, Wikipedia,
Nice. Well, that's the new age one. That's the new age encyclopedia.
for our teeny boppers, yes. and they defined punk rock or punk as a rock genre, music genre that developed in the mid-1970s, like you said, in the US, the UK, and Australia, and it's rooted in 1960s garage rock and other forms of what is now known as proto-punk music, and punk rock bands rejected perceived excesses of mainstream 1970s rock. So it goes on and on. If you guys want to read about it more on Wikipedia, you can find all of our research on WokeNFree.com.
All right, well, where did it actually come from then?
So I definitely had to research this answer this question because I like punk rock music, but I don't know the origins like that. And according to some interesting information, I think I'm about to blow people's minds. So Peru's own Los Ciacos, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, or Ciacos, not Sex Pistols, the Ramones, New York Dolls, the Stooges, the Dictators, or even Death, was the first punk band in history of punk bands.
Oh, you're saying those are not the first ones?
No. Los Ciacos or Ciasos is the one. And this is according to a new documentary produced by Noisy, which chronicles the short-lived musical collaboration between Erwin Flores, Rolando Carpio, Cesar Papi Castrillon, and Pancho Guervo, and the aggressive up-tempo rock and roll which rained down on Peru nearly a decade before the word punk was even in Johnny Rotten's vernacular. So...
Oh, really? So
blowing people's minds. So apparently
Peru.
It was formed in Peru. Go ahead, South America.
They're saying they think in the 60s they were doing some form of
Si,
punk.
senor.
But what's weird is like, if you go back to what you were saying before, was I don't even know what garage rock is. Like, what does that mean?
I know.
See, it gets kind of like, I don't know. It
It's
gets
a lot of different layers there.
mixed in when... Because it seems like what happened is, like, people started to kind of divulge from regular rock music and go into these subgenres. And out of that, kind of, punk grew out of that. But do you really know, like, was the garage rock?
Yeah.
It seems like it's, like, up in the air a little bit.
Definitely. I think the main thing that I loved as being a person of color, that supposedly people of color started it.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't know that. Who would have expected that?
I would have never expected that.
Yeah. And also, just to touch on Death, I mean, it's funny. If you look at most of these articles that I was reading, they don't even mention Death. They don't mention them at all. Like, I know they're on Wikipedia mentioned, but nope, not a mention of them. The Ramones, they always come up. New York Dolls comes up. But Death is never mentioned. And it's funny because they're one of the first American bands that started doing punk music.
Interesting.
And it's interesting too because they came out of Detroit and they're three African American brothers. And the issue that with them is they weren't able to get a deal during the 1970s. Record labels, they didn't know how they could promote them, so they just kind of said, we're not going to take up your record.
Interesting.
So I think that kind of made an issue for them because they eventually broke up too because of that.
Wow.
And then they later reunited once their demo was played, like, I think recently in the 2000s, and
wow,
it did pretty well. But yeah, they couldn't even get a deal, so now they won't really go down in history as the first, founders of punk.
Well, I mean, I'm just so sick and tired of, like, hearing about we don't know how to promote you, but hopefully since Black Panther, hello Wakanda, Wakanda forever.
I don't think that's an issue now.
Hopefully I still think of the music industry.
But they still won't want you. They won't promote you.
Oh, we don't know how to market you.
Like,
we don't
if
know
you're
what
a
kind
metal
of box
band,
you
it's
fill
like,
in.
you're a black metal band. What do we say about you guys?
But listen, WokeNFree Nation, if you are an artist, if you are not represented in your industry, but you're still moving forward and you want to share your story, we want to hear your story. Go to WokeNFree.com, contact us. I don't even know if I've ever even seen black people play rock music in public. Like, I don't.
Really?
No, I think it's only been non-diverse.
You've never seen that in the subway?
No, not rock music. No,
I've seen that. I saw a guy playing the Beatles song.
Oh, no, but not like a homeless. Are you talking about homeless people?
I don't know if he's homeless, but he was playing.
I'm talking about someone who's doing this as their career.
That's a career. A subway
Being
singer.
Homeless?
No, a subway singer. You put the money in the hat.
I'm so tired with you right now.
No, but I'm being real. See, some people are going to be offended. They're going to say, I take some real issue with you saying that's not a career.
Being homeless is not being
not the
having a
homeless. No,
career.
but singing in the train
that's
station.
your artistic expression. Of course, that can be a part of your career or your career, whatever.
Yeah,
however
you're a
you want to
musician.
say. Yeah, of course.
You might just
But
perform in
I
public.
was just
That's how you
saying,
start.
being homeless isn't a career.
No, that's something else. You talk about homelessness.
That's a socioeconomic factor.
I'm not talking about
you're
those.
dealing with in
No,
your
I'm
life.
not talking about those people that just like shake a change in your face and they want you to put money in there, and they just like they make a sound.
No. Performing and having different venues. Listen, I mean, if you're performing,
Not even venues. What if you're just performing in public, like at a park?
Yeah, I mean that's your prerogative.
I'm talking about like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're trying to get me in trouble. I'm so tired of you.
That was a close one for you. Very close one.
I stand by my truth.
I just hope people come away with the right feeling from what you said.
Well, what I want people to know, and we will rehash this since you're coming up and trying to dig another hole in my heart, is...
I would never dig a hole in my wife's heart.
Yes. Oh, is that your British accent?
No, that is not.
Thank God. That sounded terrible.
That don't sound that terrible.
Is that Southern?
Nah, that's my gumbo talk.
Gumbo talk. You're trying not to offend people right now, and you just used the term gumbo.
What does that mean, though?
Talk.
That doesn't mean anything.
I'm not from the Carolinas. I can't address that statement.
Oh, you saying? I was thinking Louisiana. Like that was the Cajun.
Ooh, I would step right away from that.
No, it was like a Cajun style.
Cajun crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I might have roots there, so I can speak that way.
Oh, because you didn't have Cajun chicken today, right? That's not why. You okay? I can't.
Right,
We're
let's
digressing,
get back to the
guys.
topic, though.
We went down a weird yellow brick road here.
Yeah, let's get back to
so
the
all I
punk
was
stuff.
saying was that yes, like I would love to see more diversity, and we'll just leave it at that because I think we will speak on that later.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do people know the origin story of this genre of music?
It depends on where you look. I mean, we were just talking about that previously, that you were saying in Peru, these people like started punk before anybody even knew what it meant. But like what I was seeing is articles were saying that it started in New York City. A lot of them were converging and say New York City was like the birthplace of punk. That's what it says.
Okay.
And they mention bands like the Velvet Underground, the New York Dolls, and of course the Ramones. But just like I was saying, they didn't point out that Death, who were located in Detroit, were among the first as well. They embody the punk sound, but they were shut out. So now they're not mentioned in any story. But I think the origins begin either in Peru or in Detroit. Like that's, if we really think about it, that's kind of like the origin story. But to find out more about it, it's not easy. I mean, I don't know how much you found on this Peruvian story, but probably not a lot. Like we didn't know that.
I just found that one article, and so it's, again, all research can be rehashed and looked at on a deeper level on WokeNFree.com. But I mean, I think unless you,
there's no way to know the story,
world is
right?
so
The
different
origin.
now. When people started things, there was no place for them to like document that. There wasn't like internet.
They didn't have
right,
like
for
a
them
patent, right?
Yeah, like they
I am the
didn't-
first punk rocker.
No,
and
like
punk
I'm
rocking
January
out.
1st and you're February 2nd. Like people did it.
And the problem is when you're among the first and there's no name for it, you don't even know that you're punk rocking. Like, you just think you're just playing music. You're having a good time.
It's a very hazy.
You're not trying to define yourself.
Situation, yeah.
That's the thing. You're not defining yourself.
But generally, do people even care about the origin story
No.
of music? Personally, I'm going to say no. I
Most
think
people
that
don't.
they don't. I think you enjoy music and you take from it. And maybe if you're like a real music, what's that term called? Like
An aficionado?
yeah, like if you're really into it and you're going to go on Shazam or something, then shout out to Jamie Foxx. Then sure, maybe you'll go back that deep because you want to win your money. But
I think that would actually help, knowing the origins.
possibly because you'd be able to track stuff and go through and through. I don't know.
Okay. But I mean, they do have classes, music. I took one like
theory or something.
Yeah, I took like an intro to music, so I learned some of the background with the blues and country.
Glad I wasn't there.
Bluegrass.
Yeah,
It was an online class, but it was eye opening and it was good. I'll admit that.
Was it anything like our art history class?
That's a different episode.
That was disastrous, guys.
Now there's better ways to learn art though. There's some good ways you can go through art. and it would be through a fiction story, I would say.
Oh, I thought you were going to go the dirty route and say, like, have the naked model in the room and we can learn art by painting and...
No, I'm talking about the history of art. I'm not talking about, like, doing weird stuff at these parties.
It's not weird. Wait a minute. Parties, Khalil.
Eyes Wide Shut. Doesn't that bring up
Don't go
things
down
to mind?
there. Do
Tom
not
Cruise.
go down that road. We are digressing way too much, guys. Okay, let's swing it back. Let's swing this back.
All right, we'll swing it back then. Well, we gotta ask this question definitely. Who are your favorite punk rock bands or musicians?
Okay, I was trying to think about different ones. I think for me, definitely like Green Day, and I'm actually a really huge Paramore fan. So there are other bands. I'm sure you'll mention them, but those are the two that like really stuck out to me. But how about you?
Well, yeah, Green Day is definitely straight up punk rock. Paramore, they're like a mix of rock and punk rock and some other styles.
Paramore, love you, Paramore.
They definitely, they mix it up. They're definitely a
music.
good group, and they do different type of stuff. They even did like a disco song too. So they're a cool mix of different genres. But I liked these other bands. I like Green Day as well. That's on my list. But I got to mention Panic at the Disco.
True.
Now they're funny. They do like kind of like a pop punk. I mean, it's not just like straight up punk, and then they do some other styles, but they do punk music sometimes. So I definitely got to include them. Blink 182.
Yes,
oh, man, that's
I love
classic.
them.
They're great.
Them, yeah.
I like all their albums.
What was that? We were like in high school, right, when that came out?
Yeah, high school. Yeah,
dope.
Yeah, end of high school they had that. They still had some albums while we were in college too.
They were
Green
cool.
Day, like you mentioned, definitely they got some great songs that you gotta just listen to over and over.
Definitely.
And then in college, Fall Out Boy.
True.
They had so many songs.
But see, then I was also thinking, like,
Fall Out
does
Boy was
U2
great.
count or no? See,
I don't
like,
think so. They're
yeah.
not punk. They're not punk. They're
I was
like rock.
ugh, they're other.
U2's
I guess,
rock.
Okay.
So that's the thing. It's hard with the genres though, because they
Yeah,
definitely they merge
definitely.
and meld.
And then
There's
also I
alternative
loved gosh, what the he died. The lead singer died. What was that?
I know Linkin Park.
Yeah, Linkin Park. Love
they're
them.
Closer to
love
metal.
them.
They're closer to like a
and
metal
then,
kind of thing.
What's my Papa Roach? Love
Metal
them.
again.
But,
See, now you're going
okay.
into metal. It's a little punk is a little bit different.
I love Papa
Which
Roach.
it's kind of
yeah.
it's funny. Like metal's a little. I think metal's a
So
little
I
bit
do
more
like
hard.
metal. Interesting.
Yeah, some of
See, I wouldn't even have because when I think of metal, I think of something much harder. But I guess.
But
okay.
no, then you're thinking of like
heavy metal.
No,
or?
industrial.
Oh.
Well, heavy metal a little bit, but industrial is like the really
Okay,
crazy.
That I'm not
go hard,
necessarily.
and that's some
a fan
nice
of,
stuff
but
there where they're just
I know,
like,
you're into that stuff,
and you don't know what they're saying. They're just
yeah,
going
you
crazy.
Listen to that in the shower.
It's like
I
headbanging.
think you're like trying to kill me. Or something.
That stuff's good. Sometimes you gotta listen to it. I sleep to that sometimes too.
That explains so much.
No, but we'll get. Here's how I catch
one who has problems sleeping.
Here's how I catch you, and I catch the WokeNFree audience, because guess what? I fall asleep to classical music too. Got him. And I fall
could
asleep
say
to jazz.
something too,
Got
but I don't think you want me to. You also fall asleep to evangelism. So
Yeah, I didn't put that on though. That's different.
I'm not going to say
No.
which evangelists.
You don't have to say any of that, but what you have to admit is that I didn't put that on. All the other musics I
But
put
the
on.
good books puts you to bed, eh?
I put on the jazz music. I put on the classical. I put on the heavy metal.
And the
I listen to
Christian.
that. Nah, I don't put that on. But gospel's good though too.
To
Gospel.
fall asleep to?
I don't think I've fallen asleep to gospel. I just listen to
I
that
have,
occasionally.
Yeah. I definitely have, yeah.
No, I mean I don't know. I don't just be like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to some gospel music and fall
You
asleep.
better
to
get
it.
some Jesus in your
Go
life.
listen to some Mary Mary and get down.
Yes, Mary
With it.
Mary.
I don't know if I want to sleep to that. Nah,
You
that
don't want
doesn't
too
come
much
to
God
mind.
in your life, I know.
Well, what to expect when listening to punk rock music? Let people know.
Okay, so clearly you will expect to shake your head continuously, but don't hurt your brain. And you will possibly jump up and down because you will be so enthralled with the great message and the literary talent that's being shown with the dope beats, right? And it's not dope in the sense of like hip hop, hey Drake, how are you? But more like just like rock, like like it's so fun and it's so awesome. And I just think there's nothing better than like music with like cool and good empowering messaging with like really great musicality, because I think it makes music more like long standing in our mind and in music history. And so I think this is a great genre that embodies that. But what about you?
I think it depends on the bands, because some of the bands, they actually break the music rules and they'll do like weird things that, well, now it's considered okay, but kind of like the Ramones in the beginning of the song, they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, like trying to catch the rhythm, and that used to not be a thing. Like people didn't do that. They didn't like do something to help them with getting the beat on, getting on beat, but they started that whole trend. So I think it's about like breaking rules. And then sometimes I notice too, is like punk rockers, sometimes they'll be like a little bit out of tune. Sometimes like it'll be like it goes no, but it's good though, because it's not like following like the strict rules that a lot of musicians follow. Like it's kind of like open, and you can kind of interpret. And sometimes you'll scream. Sometimes you'll just say some words and it won't go with anything. It's about being surprised, I think. That's what when I think of punk rock music.
These people are free.
Especially
freestyling.
Not even like Fall Out Boy, they'll do that. They'll just start, I mean, they'll sing, and sometimes they'll kind of like slow it down, and they change the pace, and they're not always with the exact rhythm that's going on. Like they change it up. That's what I like about it.
Expect a surprise.
Expect the unexpected. That's what I think of when punk rock music. And then you can have lots of super fun songs where it's just fast and
definitely
crazy, but
like Blink-182 definitely.
They have a lot of those.
Cool,
they have some of those fast songs that you're just bobbing along to. And I mean, you didn't mention her, but Avril Lavigne's also punk too.
Oh yes,
I
didn't know if she classified or not. But okay, so if she classifies it, then I definitely love you, Avril. Oh my gosh, she was amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean she used to be beloved.
But see, Jewel doesn't constitute. I love Jewel, but yeah.
Nah, Jewel's
but what about before Avril there was Sheryl Crow or no?
No, I don't think she's rock.
Sheryl Crow. Okay. But what's the other one?
There was another one?
Yeah, there was before Avril. There was. Remember, she was.
I didn't know any other punk rock. Like she was the biggest like female punk rocker of our time. I don't. There were some of the other times. I don't know the names.
Maybe she's a different genre though. Yeah.
There was another female, but I don't know her name.
Yeah.
There was another female punk rocker who was big before Avril. I don't know her name though.
Is it the one where she acted too, and then she? What was the? Oh gosh.
And don't bring up the other band that you might be thinking of.
Which one are you thinking?
Not Evanescence. Don't bring them up.
Oh, love them, but
they're definitely not in this genre.
Oh, we'll let it go.
Well, yeah, we could search maybe. Maybe Shazam knows.
Ha! Shazam always knows.
Shazam the King? Wait, isn't that movie with Shaq in it?
Are you coming for Jamie?
No, not for Jamie, but I'm saying Shaq was in Shazam.
Is that not the name of the show?
That's the name of the show, but it's also the name of the movie. You don't remember
I didn't watch that film.
But Shaq was in it.
Good for him.
He was in a movie.
Good.
Oh, okay.
He made money. That's excellent.
Yeah, but you need to see that movie if you haven't seen it.
Do I really, though? Do I really?
Yes, you do.
WokeNFree Nation, do I need to go back in time and watch Shazam?
If you see the show, you need to see the film.
Has nothing to... That's talking about... What does that have to do with the tea in China?
Completely different concepts, but the same name. Hey.
No bueno.
Si bueno.
Have you lost your mind? You better find it. Find your mind.
Would you want to see any changes in the genre of this music?
It'd be nice to see more like international talent. That's what I'd like to see.
That's a really interesting answer.
Well, yeah, I'd want people from different countries. I don't hear a lot of international punkers. Never. I hear like you get a lot of different pop people from around the world, or of course the biggest thing that everybody loves to do is rapping. It's like great. Every country got a rapper, but how come we can't see more punkers?
This is ridiculous.
From these countries, you know it's true.
Shade you're throwing.
You know it's true.
To these other nations,
rappers are a dime a dozen. If you look around the globe.
He said, "Sit down, India."
How many people
China,
will be like, "I rap"?
UK, Australia, sit down.
And you know it's true. That's why some people just look at rappers and like, "Oh, you're a rapper." Okay then.
Bloody hell.
Not expecting that.
Not expecting that.
Definitely not.
Exactly.
And if they were punk rockers, they'd probably be really popular. I bet you they could go viral.
I can't. He said you would make money, guys, if you actually did this.
It's an open field. Come on.
You better get your life.
I want to see these people from Peru. I want to see them come up and show us.
Is WokeNFree? Are we going to start our own punk rock group?
Well, you hear us. You hear our talent already. Oh, we can. Yeah, we're breaking rules. Singing out of tune. Exactly.
Oh, snap.
That's us with got us nice and compact. We're ready.
You're
ready
gonna
to
play
go.
the piano and I play the guitar?
Oh, I'll play. You can play the flute. Who's
Oh,
playing the
you're
flute
gonna
in
bring
punk
up
rock?
my flautist abilities.
Yeah, that would be crazy. You could bring the flute
Just
in
for that, I'm gonna play on air now.
Okay,
For
if you
another
want to.
episode.
It's going to be a really riveting performance.
You better
too.
play your piano, Mr. Piano Man.
I'm going to play the guitar.
Oh, good God.
No, I'm working on that, so let's
We
go.
know what kind of day this is. So I'm going to say, let's swing it back, guys.
Swinging it back as the
changes-
pendulum swings.
I know.
It swings and it swings.
This is a disaster, but
I guess so.
the changes I would like to see would definitely, similar to yours, I'm not going to throw shade to the world, but I'm just going to say...
To all the millions of rappers out there.
You're
say
shameful.
they're
You better get your
rappers.
life, because they might come on air. You better get
What
your
they're
life.
going to tell me? They're like, I'm a real rapper. I have lines.
And
I have bars. Look at me.
They're going to come for us in their
I'm
rap
on beat.
songs.
Look at me. I'm on beat.
You better,
I'm great.
when we hear WokeNFree getting cussed out in India, don't say nothing to me. But I'm going to say I want diversity. I mentioned it earlier in the episode. To be honest, as a person of color, I've always loved being able to appreciate different cultures and different experiences, but I would like to see myself represented in these different experiences, just because I love rock as much as I love hip-hop and as much as I love reggaeton or my soca or calypso music. I want to see diversity, and I would love, I mean, I think that's why people also like loved Spice Girls, just seeing different people and,
Yeah,
you know,
they
just
like that.
diversity is just great. Even just one person, guys, like just diversify your bands so that people can feel like they see themselves and what they enjoy. So
Yeah, that'd be nice.
yeah, it would be.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Mike was recently invited by his friend Shinoda to a death concert. He's never been to a concert before, let alone a punk rock concert. What should Mike do before going? And more importantly, what should he wear?
He should wear something similar to what Kiss wore.
Okay.
And make
an
sure that
answer.
he has a long tongue and sticks it out the entire time that he's outside.
Alright, Gene Simmons style. If you want to do that. Alright.
I mean, imagine how many pictures they would take.
I mean, you might stand out a little bit, but
You might get sent somewhere.
wow.
That's amazing. Oh, that tickled
That would
my
be-
feather for the day.
You're actually not that far off, though, because the one thing that he definitely should do is he should have some, like, really high boots on.
And, like, really black mascara.
He can do that, too, yeah, he should. Because you don't want to get your feet stomped on and stuff, especially if you're going to be in the mosh pit, you gotta be ready.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say
Why?
that,
Come
too.
on.
You
If
love
you get
that
it there-
word, mosh pit.
That's what it is. That's where you get the mosh on. You get your mosh on.
14 years
I'm
of
just making
love,
up
guys,
words.
and it's the same thing.
What? No, it's not.
Same
Well, you
suit.
know how catchy? You know what? Watch this. He should also have on a long black leather trench coat.
I wonder why.
And you won't guess this. The reason why is because he can do crowd surfing in his trench coat.
Wonderful. And then he can also join the cast of Matrix.
No, this is perfect for crowd surfing because guess what? It gives you more area. So therefore, you have hands that can grab the area and push you up, and therefore you will not fall on the floor
I would say
and
something,
hurt yourself.
but I don't want to be crass, and given how much death happens from concerts and
Yeah,
stuff,
please
I won't
don't say
it.
anything
But
crass.
there's also things that you can hide in those jackets. That's why
All
I'm
right,
not
you're
a
not-
fan of that.
You're not getting into the concert like that. You're definitely not. I mean, they're going to be checking you real straight. They might even take your phone. They might lock your phones up. They do some crazy stuff now at concerts, so be ready for
You're
that.
not seeing Dave Chappelle.
No, some people actually do that, though, but probably not at a punk concert. They probably
Yeah,
don't care
I
that
highly
much.
doubt it.
They're like, you can film us, guys. We want you to film
Yeah,
us.
he's put us on IG. Like,
They'd hope
you
to
better
be
get
on
your
there.
story game up. Yeah.
They're not trying to, they're just trying to live their life. They're
True.
not going to mind too much.
True that.
So you think you should go with the Kiss outfit?
I
though.
think that would be amazing, and it would really make me happy. But
Just for you.
alternatively, Like, I think he should do some research. What is the current, trends? And then from that, he gets some context, and then he can figure out what he's into. I personally don't want to stick out my tongue and put white makeup all over my face.
But you recommend it to others.
But that's for me, though. So
I recommend it to others wholeheartedly.
Well,
That's
if you're
nice.
really trying to make a stance for yourself, I mean,
All right.
that's a hell of a way to stand out. But
If
you
say
have
so.
to kind of figure out where you're gonna lie in the fashion kind of scenario here. But do something where you're gonna be comfortable. It's gonna fit the context for which you're going to, and then try to add some flair in there.
All right. Scenario 2. Lane and Kent were having a heated argument about which genres grew out of punk rock music and went to stand on their own. Lane said that queercore and the Riot Girl are really different than punk and should be considered different types of music. Kent argued that all those, including emo, are just punk music, and only grunge music is truly a different genre. Should they take to social media to conduct a poll to see what everyone else thinks, or should they just
Shut up.
I think they should both make sure that they're fully medicated and that they listen. People are entitled to be as passionate as they want to be. I think if they really are interested in finding out what other people think, yeah, they should take a poll. They probably should even live stream or really, involve people to maybe, I mean, if this is something that maybe they're going to start their own podcast or their own video series, then, get some context. If it matters to them, then why not?
I think it matters to them, so you agree it's okay, they can take to social media.
You
It's
can
okay.
you're an adult, you can do what you want. I mean, so go ahead and live your life. Why? You think they shouldn't?
No, I think they should. I don't know
Yeah.
if you would recommend them do it or just
I mean,
keep
they're
it
going
to
to be
themselves.
civil. They're not going to shoot each other on camera or anything, right?
No,
Like, they're not. Yeah.
they're good friends.
Oh, okay, so yeah, as long as everyone's going to be civil and they're just impassioned about their music, then
That's okay then.
yeah, live your life. I'm sure you'll get a couple of hundreds, thousands of views. Why not? Be viral being crazy. It's interesting.
All right, there you go. Scenario 3. Nate loves rocking out in his buddy's garage after a long day of school. Only thing is, Allison, the leader of the band, likes when they play fast and edgy, and Nate likes to take his time and hit all the right chords. Should Nate still jam with his dudes, or should he gather the ones who prefer the traditional style of rock and start his own band?
Interesting question or interesting scenario. I guess it's going to depend on his intention. If he's really interested in playing music how he wants to play it and not have that be determined by other people, then yeah, he might need to find his own kind of crew and do something and have it be authentic and true to what he wants. I think life is too short not to live it how you want to. So, if other people can't appreciate how he wants to jam out, then he should jam out with people who appreciate that.
So, yeah, what's interesting about this scenario is this actually happens a lot, and it happens to bands that are already, in the limelight.
Oh, wow.
So people will, it's very frequent. Like, people, they'll have differences, and they'll split up, they'll start their own thing.
Interesting.
But what happens is sometimes that offshoot, they usually fizzle out. But it could go either way. I mean, sometimes they fizzle out, sometimes they start a group, and it's really successful, and it becomes bigger than the main band, so you never know. But yeah, I agree. You should definitely go out on your own and do your own thing, because if you stay within that band, you're probably going to start to resent the people
you're
within
gonna be
it,
very
and
pissed
you can
off.
it could become hostile at some point, and you might start doing drugs. It could lead down a really
Absolutely.
bad.
But you know how you
road.
resolve this? From the beginning, when you do auditions, try to understand the people that you're inviting into your music tribe.
You're saying auditioning, but these are your friends that you just hang out with. You
yeah,
just
but you
started
should
playing together.
understand what type of musicians these people are, right? Why is it a surprise after the fact, after you started the band, right?
Because
Like
first
you
you just-
weren't
but first you guys
paying
just-
attention.
Yeah, but first you guys are just messing around, and then you said, "Hey, let's do some songs," and then people were trying to lead it, and you're like, "Wait, you're going a different direction than I."
So
really
if
like
this
to
is the
play."
beginning stages
Yeah,
of
this
that,
is the
then
super
fine.
beginning,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought you were
This
saying
isn't-
like we're out already, and
No,
it's like,
no. I'm just
you
saying
didn't
that.
know this, like
Yeah, that happened. That happens in. That happens a lot to other bands, but yeah, in this case, this is right
if
in
that's
the
just
beginning.
in the beginning, then yeah, then it's time to break off and do your own thing, and because you shouldn't. Yeah, life is too short to have resentment and regret and play your music, right?
The only thing I would caution is that remember that's sometimes you got to experience like contrast to kind of like I don't know find yourself, or maybe you can even learn stuff from experiencing this style that you don't like, you might be able to pick stuff up. So
Possibly.
I wonder if, I don't know, like maybe
if there's value to
it might be too.
yeah.
It's possible that it's too early to leave. I'm not saying it is. Like I don't know, but you got to
go
kind of
with
make a
your gut.
judgment call.
Nate needs to go with his
like if
gut and
you got to
figure
think
it
about
out.
like, do you want to
Yeah.
experiment and just see how it is and feel it out and learn from it? If you can't, then you can just jump out of it and go start your own
Because also
band.
you can, if you're too frustrated, your creativity is going to get affected.
But that
by
too,
that.
yeah.
So,
If it's too frustrating, then you can't do it. But if you're open,
Yeah.
then you might say, hey, you know what? Let me just try this just to see what I can take from it. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll change me a little bit. It might grow on me. I can then go on and integrate
and also
that into my
compromise.
style.
You know, you can have songs where it's his way. You know, if you guys are going to do a set of 5, 6, or whatever songs, maybe 2 are his way and 3 are the other way. You know, so you can
that's
also
true.
compromise and see if you can make this work. And if the people you're playing with won't compromise with you, then you probably shouldn't be playing with them, because if you're unwilling to make a compromise, which too many people are, bye, au revoir, God bless.
Wow. Au revoir.
Oh, that's your French accent.
Ah oui oui. Oh no, you know my French accent's really good. Watch this. This is a great one. Chocolat bleu.
I think you literally scared people. I think they
That's
said,
a
"Whoa,
good one,
whoa,
though.
whoa!"
And then my other one is clam chowder. Chowder.
You're not even saying that anywhere close to what that should be said. You psychopath.
You couldn't understand it. That's how good it was.
That's how bad
It's
it
very
was. It was
French of
literally
me.
gibberish.
It's very French of me.
You could be speaking what they spoke on Rugrats.
No, I can't, Josh.
Tommy was.
No, I could not.
Yep.
No, all right, that was your accent.
That's my
Try
baby
again.
accent.
Try again, I'd say.
Goo goo gagoo.
Oh, yes.
All right, guys, what's going on here? Is there insanity that's just leaking out of somewhere?
Out of our brains, yeah.
I guess so. Onto the microphone.
We are at that time again. The pendulum has swung all the way back.
Finally.
And it's coming to the end of our 54th episode of Woke and Free. Like cats dying in the street.
Punk band, here we come.
Yeah! This is my last resort!
And you're going to be doing different genres. That's great.
Did you know I love that song?
That's great.
Suffocation, no breathing. I love that song.
Wow.
You know I
Wow.
love that song. But I digress.
Yes, you do, ma'am. Yes, you
This
do.
was too much fun. And we had quite a maddening experience talking all about where punk rock music came from. And as per usual, I always ask a question. Will I leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we will be talking about whether people should invest in the stock market. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation. And make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you would like to be a guest on this show, all you have to do is submit a topic for an upcoming episode by visiting us on our Contact Us page on WokeNFree.com. That is www.WokenFree.com. And as per usual, I'll say it as many times as it takes, we're very active on social media. Always feel free to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at WokeNFree.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do, share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokeNFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokeNFree is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.